Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to our Accounting Career Week panel. Here today we have a couple of different people in the accounting industry to share with you about the world of accounting. But first we just have a couple of housekeeping items. First off, I'd ask you to turn off or mute your cell phones and put them away from off the tabletops. This is out of respect for our panelists as well as to keep your attention on the panelists. As well, please refrain from getting up during the panel. As well, save any questions you may have until the end. There will be a time for student questions at the end if time permits. As well, this is a Learning Passport eligible activity, as you know. You will have received a Learning Passport activity survey on your tables when you entered the room. If you do not have one, I know there's a number of students in here. Please let us know afterwards and we'll make sure that you can get one to fill out. I ask that you wait until the end of the panel to complete these, as well as the activity page in your Learning Passport booklet. Following the panel, just make sure both sides of the survey are completed, as well as your activity page. And then Miriam and myself and Elsie will be stamping the passport booklets. So we will begin the panel now. Our first question for our panelists is please introduce yourself, your position, as well as the company that you work for.
Hi everyone, my name is Laura Snow and I am the controller at a company called TrueLeaf. We are a startup company in Bedford and we are growing lettuce, so greens and other lettuce items. So yeah, that's my position.
Hi, hi everyone. My name is Lana Ileva and I actually graduated from Vincent in 2012. I'm now a manager in assurance at Grant Thornton. It's an international accounting firm. So I've been there for 6 years, and I started a small office in Antigonish and spent 2 years there, and then my family moved to Halifax, so we spent 4 years here, and I really enjoy my job and the people I'm working with.
Hi everyone, my name is Amanda Casella. I work for the Canada Revenue Agency and I'm a GST HST post-audit team leader, and I've been there for 11 years.
Thank you. So, what led you to the position that you're in today, whether this is education, a job experience, co-op, or personal connections? We can start with Laura.
So I attended St. Mary's University and did the co-op program there, and my last co-op term was at the accounting firm Ernst & Young, where I went on to work afterwards, and I spent about 5 years working there, working on different client engagements. And actually one of the clients I worked on early on, he was on the other side of the table. He was the client of ours, and he's now my boss. So the kind of connection from almost 10 years ago has kind of turned around to him being my boss today. So it's just important. It goes to show you how important like those connections you make even early on in your career can be down the road.
I would say for me it was a combination of my work experience and my education. I'm originally from Russia, and in Russia I graduated with finance and economics degree. So when I came here, I was working at a small accounting firm for like approximately 7 years, but I felt like there wasn't too many opportunities for me to grow. So I decided to go back to school, and I continued working, and I took some online courses and graduated from St. Vincent. And then basically I applied for 2 jobs where I can obtain my designation that were available in Antigonish, and it was Sobis and Grant Thornton, and I was fortunate enough, both of them offered me a job, and I chose Grant Thornton.
Similar to Laura, I actually went to St. Mary's as well, and I got a Bachelor of Commerce degree from there. I got enrolled in the co-op program, I think in my 3rd year, and CRA was my first co-op placement. So I kind of rotated between doing full summer semesters while I was out of school, and then would do part-time while I went back to school. And once I graduated, I was bridged into a permanent position. And from there, I was able to kind of work my way through various levels of auditor positions and ultimately end up as a team leader in audit with new auditors under me.
Thank you. So a number of our students here look for employment following graduation as well during the co-op program. So does your organization you work for offer summer, part-time, co-op positions, or do they hire new graduates?
So as I mentioned, we are a startup company and we're quite small. However, we did have an accounting co-op student last summer, which we felt was very helpful. So I think we don't have a co-op student right now, but I think in the summer terms or whenever it might be, we see fit for a peak and cycle. We're also growing, so while it's not something that's customary currently, I think it could be something that down the road we would definitely implement.
Grant Thornton is international firm, and we have offices all across Canada and US and numerous other countries. And so we have office in Halifax, in the Nova Center, and Antigonish, Truro, Yarmouth, numerous small towns across province. And we offer summer and winter co-op programs, plus we hire new students each year.
So CRA actually offers all of these types of employment. So I mentioned before I was involved in the co-op program, so we still seek students through the co-op program. We typically offer twice a year, usually once in for the January semester and then once again for the summer. So we do have some co-op students starting with us for January. Outside of the co-op program, we also do the Federal Student Work Experience Program, or FSWEP. So we've gone to this a couple of times. Most recently this past summer we've brought in 4 bilingual students. The FSWEP program is it's open to all government departments. So if you're a student, whether it be co-op or not, you can apply to the Federal Student Work Experience Program, and then you're kind of placed in an inventory. So anytime a hiring manager goes in and selects off, their criteria, your name kind of comes out, you'd be contacted for further assessment. And we usually end up keeping our, co-op and FSWEP students on, part-time while they go back to school. And then they also have the opportunity to be student ambassadors. So that is, kind of promoting CRA within their universities. So I'm going to call out Kelly because I see her. She was one of our FSWEP students this past summer, and now she's a student ambassador here. And we also do hiring for new graduates. Again, we have a poster usually twice a year. We just closed up one. I actually did some interviews this morning for new graduates. So keep an eye out for that. Those are usually open to all of the Atlantic region, and all of our divisions or departments can go in and select from this process, and they can hire at a higher level than what the process is actually advertised for. So if you are seeking employment, post-graduation, or if you're upcoming graduate, definitely keep an eye out for that. And if you are in your second or third year, the Federal Student Work Experience Program or the co-op would be a great way to go.
Our next question is, how competitive are positions in the field of accounting?
So I would say in Halifax, it's a bit of a smaller market than some of the other big cities, but I found going through at St. Mary's, it was pretty competitive to get a job. I found the co-op program really was kind of the step that helped me secure employment after graduation. Not saying you need to do a co-op program, but I did find it very helpful. The other thing I find is things like this or other networking events that schools put on, there's always representatives from the firms or local employers. So although it is competitive, I think by attending as many of the events you can and making it known that you're very interested in a job in the market, I think there's definitely lots of opportunities. It's just kind of making, doing the right networking and talking to the right people, which will definitely help.
I absolutely agree with Laura with all the points that she mentioned. Having said that, I also feel like accounting is one of the professions that's always going to be in demand, because basically every business needs an accountant, bookkeeper, or and there are always going to be jobs at different level as entry position bookkeeper or when you obtain your designation and gain experience to become executive in the firms. So just keep on working hard and strive for like high goals, and basically there's so many opportunities.
When I was preparing for this question, I kind of looked at it from a different perspective. I kind of looked at it in terms of, how is CRA competitive with other, firms? So maybe I'll touch on that in a second. But just like kind of, like what the others have said as well, getting into a co-op program or getting into, to get some experience while you're still in school really, really helps you when you get out and you're looking for a job and you are, preparing for interviews. It gives you some practical experience to fall back on. And the career events that they have at your universities, so, whether it be, a panel like this, it be career fairs, it be like mixers, there's so many hiring managers there all the time. So, get out there and, get your face out there, because that's how they're going to know you. And it is competitive, absolutely. But the more that, that somebody knows who you are, the better chances you'll have for an opportunity.
Our next question is, if you had the opportunity to change something about your career, past or present, what would it be?
So this is a tough question, but I think I've worked at Ernst & Young, and then I also worked at Bell Liant, and I worked at a company called DBRS in Toronto before the job I'm currently in. And I found, especially when I was at Ernst & Young accounting firm, although I spent the longest part of my career there, I knew, unlike Lana, that I didn't want to stay at a firm forever, that I wanted to kind of move into industry. But I think it's important, any job you're at, but especially at a firm, if that's where you end up working, it kind of sets the groundwork for a lot of the learning and opportunities that you can get. You get to learn and see a lot at a very kind of young age, I guess. So I kind of regret that I was in such a rush to leave, because you really do learn so much and are exposed to so much at a junior level in your career. And I think that goes for any job, whether you're looking for another job or you think you deserve to be doing something higher or better than you're doing at the time. There's always so much learning that you can get from what you're in, and I think it's just important to kind of appreciate the opportunities that you're given and learn from them as much as you can.
Okay, mine is a little short. I guess the one regret that I had is I wish I went back to school earlier when I immigrated to Canada, because I find like I spent 7 years basically working at a small firm with no like opportunities to grow. And I feel that set me back in my career now, because I'm basically working with a bunch of bright 20-year-olds. And yeah, some of them are close age to my son, but having said that, I still obtain lots of experience working in a small accounting firm, which I probably wouldn't have at a large firm where we were like so specialized in auditing, versus at the small firm I had the opportunity to do tax returns, bookkeeping, and that also helped me with the school. But I guess if I did go back, I would change that and like go to university right away. And yeah.
I think for me, when I started with CRA, I've pretty much spent my entire career both with CRA and in the audit program. So I think if I were to go back, I would like to, maybe try out some other divisions. CRA is such a large organization, and we have, so many divisions other than audit, such as like, collections and appeals, workload. So while I have an understanding of what all of those units do, it would be nice to work in each of them to kind of give me a better idea going forward, like if I were to come back to audit, how the organization works as a whole, specifically how it works like in each of those programs, as well as kind of develop some relationships with, people that I might not ever get to interact with. And I think that would help, like seeking higher management positions as well, because you really have a better idea of how the organization works and how each division affects each other. So I think that would be it for me.
What kinds of opportunities for advancement does the industry have to offer? And you can also narrow this down to what types of opportunities for advancement are in your company particularly.
I think the industry in general has a lot of opportunities for advancement. I find personally having the CPA designation, it sets you up for success and kind of gives you that framework that anyone looking to hire you knows that you've been through a comprehensive program and have the background to kind of succeed in various roles. So I found that is always a good background to have. Also, I find Halifax, going back to the Halifax area, it is a small area and group, but again, it goes to say how important is the networking and keeping those relationships, keeping good relationships with your fellow colleagues or coworkers or even students. You never know when someone's going to cross your path or you're going to want a job at where someone else is working. So I think it's important to make sure that you have good relationships with everyone, and you never know when they're going to come back again.
I agree with Laura about staying in touch with your colleagues and just network. So at Grant Thornton, if you hired in accounting as a CPA student, you're gonna spend probably like 2 years as a junior accountant, and then if you obtain like sufficient skills and you're going to be promoted to senior accountant, and again it's approximately in 2 years you'll be qualified to be a manager, then you can grow to be a senior manager, principal or partner. Again, it not only based on the number of years you spend, it's based on your knowledge, your personality, and what you have to offer. And I find that in the past 2 years, I noticed there's a big change because basically we're always hiring bright and like you best technically with technical knowledge, but now we're looking more for people who have entrepreneurial skills, interpersonal skills, and so again, like building relationships is very important because we are looking to grow our firm, and so it's one of the biggest, I guess, skills would be your interpersonal skills. Many of the individuals choose to leave because there's basically like whole world ahead of you, and you can choose from like different jobs, and many people leave and work for industry and then decide to come back, and we basically welcome you back. So again, it's important when you're leaving on a good terms, so that also you can start like in accounting department, and after you obtain your designation, you can switch. We have a tax and advisory group, and you can continue basically studying and obtain your in-depth or advisory certification. So and firm is paying for that. So I find like there's endless opportunities.
At CRA, we seem to be growing more than I've ever seen it, actually. We seem to be hiring now more than we ever have, and that's like right across the board. So we have, like I mentioned before, we have different divisions, so like, you know, collections and appeals, audit. I've seen waves of, 20 people come in at a time. In audit, we've been hiring at all levels from, an entry-level auditor position up to, a really high level. We have two streams in audit, like one is the SP group and one is the AU group. And the AU group starts at an AU1 and goes up through to an AU6. And I've seen really high-level positions offered, really recently. There's even a couple of posters open for AU1s right now. And also, 25% of our workforce is eligible for retirement in the next 5 years. So we're only going to continue to grow, continue to bring in new people. It's a great time for you guys, actually. But that's going to create so many opportunities across all levels, not just CRA, but the government in general. And then once you're in, there's other opportunities. We offer educational assistance. If somebody wanted to pursue their CPA or maybe pursue a specific course, maybe even pursue, like another language, maybe French or something like that. So the opportunity certainly is there, and it'll probably be there for a while. So it's a really great time to, if you're interested in government, to get in.
Our next question is, what is it about your job that you enjoy the most?
So for me, I would say people that I work with are great. I find in accounting a lot of times, definitely in all the roles that I've worked in, there's always something new and exciting going on. So you might think you're going to do one thing on a day and you end up doing another. And as much as you think that it might throw you off or whatever, I just find it keeps it exciting, and you're never bored, and there's always something to look forward to and a new challenge ahead. I also find there's always something different comes up and something that you haven't seen before, so there's the opportunity to problem solve and figure things out. As I said, we're a startup company, so there's lots of different challenges that we face every day. So just not necessarily even in accounting, there's an opportunity to wear many different hats, and the challenges are really rewarding.
I would say the best thing that I love about my job is working with teams of young, driven, like very ambitious, great people. I find like our HR is doing an awesome job. Also, I find like I'm always learning. We always provided with numerous like PD opportunities, it's professional development opportunities, and then working with different clients. So I have clients in government or public sector or private small companies or large companies. So I'm always learning either about new clients, new businesses. So there's plus I'm learning from people from above. We have lots of mentoring opportunities where you can connect with partners or managers across the country, and basically we're also doing lots of stuff in the community, and I find that's very rewarding, especially like now during summer or fall when it's not a busy season in accounting, like for public accounting firms. I find we constantly, like almost weekly, we participating in volunteering activities in Halifax, such as like Habitat for Humanity. We were building, like we were helping to build houses last month. Then blood donations, like group blood donations, United Way campaign that like we spent 2 weeks, and it's always fun. So it's not that you really enjoy, and it's like lots of opportunities to network and build the relationship with new people. Yeah, I would say that's about it.
I had written down 4 o'clock, but I think that's the wrong answer. I would say the people for me as well. Our program is fantastic. Everybody is so willing to help each other, learn from each other, coach and mentor each other. Aside from that, when I was an auditor, it was really interesting to be able to get out to different types of businesses in different parts of the provinces. We would do all of the Atlantic provinces, just to see different size corporations, different industries that you might not have ever encountered before. So that was really enjoyable. Now, as a team leader, having team members join my team, it's really rewarding to see them come on and be developed, and then move into higher level positions and kind of see them succeed.
Do you have any advice or suggestions for students pursuing a career in accounting?
So I would say if you are interested in doing the CPA program, I know it can probably be a little overwhelming at first, thinking about the next graduating from university and then getting into another program, but I really think it's the best thing that I ever did, and although it is a lot of work, I think if you put your head down and kind of get it done, once you have it behind you, it's been a really great framework for me, and really great on for every job I've gone into. I find having a group of colleagues or friends that you can go through it with makes it really a lot more enjoyable, I guess, to experience, especially working at a firm. You often, as Lana alluded to, you work with people and you spend almost you're working with them, you're hanging out with them afterwards, you're studying with them, you become really close with them. So I think it's important to form that group of connection that you can rely on them to get through kind of those tougher times, and then celebrate when you are done, and it will be worth it in the end.
So I have a 21-year-old son who is actually taking accounting now at St. Mary's, and the advice I give him, I'm like, you have to study hard and have good marks because industry is so competitive. So if you want to get with public accounting or any like big size or good size organization, you have to make sure that you have good marks to be competitive. But having said that, marks are not alone. Make sure you're volunteering in the community. You have some other stuff to offer to the companies, because everyone is looking now for someone who has leadership skills, entrepreneurial skills. I absolutely agree with Laura. I would say you should, if you want to work in accounting, you should aim to get your designation, because it opens so many doors. And later, if you decide that accounting is not for you, you still can be like a CFO, CEO at the company. And even now, as a manager, I find I do less accounting. It's more like human resources, public relationship, business growing. So there are lots of, it's not just accounting. You're not sitting and doing debit and credit all the time. So, and dream big.
My advice would be to, work hard in university, put in the time and effort, and do the best that you can, because it'll really pay off for you in a competitive market. The other thing is to try to get yourself some practical experience, whether it be, volunteer, working as an intern somewhere, just your work experience, because it gives you some relatable things to talk about, like while you are doing an interview. Maybe it's, situational type questions. It gives you something to, tie your experience to, which goes a long way. The other thing, make sure you, network and make connections, like build relationships with people. You never know when somebody might be able to help you out a little bit. And go to, like career fairs. Like I said before, there's so many different organizations there and managers there. And just kind of getting your face out there and be able to, kind of sell yourself a little bit. It really helps in a market like this.
Thank you. Before we open the floor to student questions, we'll just ask one more question. So what skills, attributes, or traits do you find students that pursue a career in accounting leads to them being very successful in the accounting industry in their career path?
For me, I've worked with a lot of co-op students, a lot of recent graduates. I find just having an open mind and again, not thinking that you're above a certain task. When you start off in a job, there's often chores or things that you need to, that somebody has to get done. And although it might seem tedious or not worth your time at the moment, there's a lot of learning that can come out of some of those simple tasks. So just have an open mind and be willing to take on anything. And I think that will go a long way.
I would say team player is very important at Grant Thornton, because we always work in teams, and it's not about me and how to make me look good. It's about like providing excellent client services and working together and growing together. And I would say also being driven and hardworking and ambitious.
I would agree. I would say, being somebody that's hardworking, somebody that, could be dependable, anything, maybe that your supervisor might assign, regardless of the task, if you kind of take it on and do a good job, that goes a long way. And also, like work on interpersonal skills, because, you're always talking to somebody. You might be doing an interview one-on-one, you might be doing a presentation, you might be doing, whatever the case may be, and you're dealing with all different types of people. So I would say that is a good skill to practice. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. So we'll now open the floor to student questions. Elsie will bring around the mic. Please raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question. And before you ask your question, please introduce yourself. So say your name and what you're studying. So if you are studying accounting, please let the panelists know that. And then you can proceed to ask your question. There's one up here in the front, Elsie.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Twee Reinders. I'm studying accounting right now. And the question I actually had for all three representatives would be, how diverse is your workforce in terms of gender, ethnicity, orientation? And do you guys promote that within your organization? Is that a focus for you?
As a startup company, I mean, our office probably has 12 people and our company is about 30 in total. So as far as diversity, we are very diverse actually. We have quite a few. If you walk down the hall at our office, no two people look the same. So I'd say we're very open to making our workforce as diverse as possible and learning from everyone that can contribute to the team.
Same with Grant Thornton. I'm originally from Russia, and I said most of the people I'm working with are they like 20 years younger than me. So I would say Grant Thornton is very diverse. We have people from all over the world and different orientations, and everyone. I feel that what makes our work so enjoyable because everyone brings different experiences. Yeah.
In government, we have, we can consider employment equity. So all four groups is something that we have to consider, in our staffing processes. And there are, like we look at the gaps at each level. So, just locally, like at our own office, and then provincially, and then regionally. And the gaps are something that we have to consider when staffing. So we do have quite a diverse workforce, and it's getting even better.
Hi there, my name is Anita. I'm a third-year accounting student. So I'm looking to do a summer internship to get some practical work experience in terms of organizations. When does that usually come up for the application process, and is it usually posted on your website, and when is the deadline, or those usually open up? Possible?
So we have the, are you involved in co-op, did you say? No? Okay, yep. So I would say your best bet for government would be the FSWEP program, the Federal Student Work Experience. And you can, like I say, apply just on the government job bank website. And you would basically like create a profile. You would indicate off all of your abilities, where you are in school, what year, what you're pursuing. And then, like I say, when a hiring manager across any government department selects off those qualities and, your name comes out, that's, I would say, your best way to be contacted. And that can be any time throughout the year. Yeah.
Grant Thornton is constantly hiring people, and basically we already did some interviews and hired some co-ops. But having said that, if you apply today and you qualified and HR team sees something in you that we're looking for, you most likely going to be like offered a job, and you can apply on the website. And I have some brochures here if you guys want to pick them up. I also have my business card. You can drop off your resume, like visit our office and drop off your resume. So like it's flexible, but you could certainly apply through website. And as I said, we're not only having offices like in Halifax, office in Halifax, but also all across the province, so you can apply to different locations.
So we will likely be doing a summer co-op or internship next summer, and we are planning on posting it in January, which would just be on our website.
Hi, my name is Safia too, and I'm an accounting major. So my question will be, would you say that all type of experience that student have will apply to accounting, for example, in finance or in banking or different type of financing?
I would say yes. I think the more and vast experience you can get, the better. Especially if you go to work at a firm or industry, you can always apply those skills to some part of your job. So personally for me right now, I never worked at a bank, but I'm doing a lot of banking stuff. So if you had been on the other side of that, you could apply that to your role. Or when you're at a firm, you're working with a lot of different clients. So I think as much experience you can get and like the breadth of knowledge you can obtain, I don't think you should feel like it needs to be specifically in accounting, because they're all helpful experiences.
I absolutely agree with Laura, and any experience you bring would differentiate you and give you some, different edge. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree too. Just being able to, promote yourself with, any experiences that you have, whether it be finance, accounting, marketing, those all come in, those are all valuable, like in different ways, and you'll apply them in different areas of your job.
Hello, my name is Jing Shi. I'm from China, and my major is accounting, and I just start out. So my question is, when I do apply online, file my application, but I doing co-op, and actually I didn't get a lot of response back. So I'm wondering, is any way I can one step ahead than others, and get a human resource to get noticed and to read my resume, everything, and get interview opportunity, because I find out international is more hard than a Canadian to get more chance to have interview opportunity, everything, because I do really want to stay here. So I'm wondering if any way I can connect with you guys and other way, yeah.
So I don't want to be repeating it. I'm originally from Russia, so I see where you're going. In terms of, I would say, don't get discouraged and just keep on applying everywhere. I find that for me, I went personally to the firm, and when I started with Grant Thornton, I started in Antigonish, and I was basically knocking. I applied to a couple of positions, and I didn't hear back, so I basically went door to door, and I introduced myself. I find when you build this connection with someone, it's different because people will remember you. And I would say the reason you might, I don't know what's the reason people not responding, as Laura and mentioned, it's very competitive. There's so many universities in Halifax, and everyone wants to get into Big Four, so CRA or some corporate. So everyone is looking for work. So you want to make sure you definitely don't get discouraged and keep on applying and keep on being persistent. And even in the firms that people didn't respond to you, just keep on applying, and one day they're going to be tired of this and they're going to give you a call and just want to see who this girl is. That's my advice to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe even meet with your, if you have a co-op advisor, and maybe even try to do some mock interviews. And, if there are firms that you're interested in or organizations that you're interested in, see if you can get a contact and call them directly, introduce yourself, tell them what your skills are, because, it is so competitive, even the co-op program. Maybe consider something like FSWEP as well. Give you some more opportunity.
When I was doing the co-op program, I found I knew I wanted to major in accounting, and I wanted to work in an accounting firm and get my designation. And originally, my first work term, I only wanted to work in an accounting firm. But I think it's important to be open to other opportunities besides accounting firms as well, if that's where you're applying. Like we've all kind of mentioned, getting that breadth of experience anywhere helps. So if you're I think keep applying for sure, as you never know what time might stick, but don't be afraid to look other places for one opportunity that may lead you in that direction later down the road.
Hi, my name is Holly, and I'm a third-year accounting student. My question is, like, how or when did you know you wanted to pursue, like, the career path you're on? So either, like, government versus public accounting versus industry.
For me, I want to say I don't really know when I did. I was in university and I knew I always kind of wanted to take, you know, something accounting related, math related. So when I got involved in the co-op program, I really wasn't sure where I was going to end up, you know, whether it be a bank, a firm, whatever. So when I got to CRA with that first assignment, like, I just enjoyed it so much. And I actually talked with my manager so I could stay on, you know, part-time throughout. But I wouldn't say like I knew at one point, you know, once I got there, I really knew that that's what I liked. And I wanted to kind of pursue it further.
So for me, I always knew I want to get obtain accounting designation, and basically at the time when I was going through school, it was and living in IT Ganesh, it was limited to you have to be either in the public accounting or a qualified employer that offers like CA experience, and that was Sobeys. And I selected Grant Thornton because I felt like it provides more opportunities. And like, to be honest with you, like my first 2 years when going through a program, I had a young child in addition to 20-year-old, and working and studying, it was tough. And in my head, I thought like, each year after I get my designation, I'm going to go into industry. But each year I was asking, like each year it was becoming easier. When you get your designation, you don't have to study and work at the same time. My kids were growing. And I find I really enjoy our people and the fact that I'm learning. And I find I had opportunities to work for so many different clients, and I never saw the same work environment that would provide me with these opportunities. And I would say maybe like in the last 2 years, I completely like stopped, like, I wouldn't say I was looking much around, but I was always like, each time we have a busy season, I would say like, that's it, I'm gone. But I find like now I know that I want to stay, and so the longer you stay, the more rewarding it becomes.
I found for myself, I knew, again, I wanted to get my CPA designation in Lake Lana. The only opportunities at the time were through an accounting firm. And I really did love my time working there. Looking back, I think I liked it even more than I thought I did at the time. Like, I had so many great friends, and you got to meet so many different clients. But when I was working there, when you're at different client sites, I started to see kind of the other side of the coin. And the opportunities that existed by going into industry. So I kind of knew fairly early on that that was something I wanted to do. And I've had a couple jobs in industry now, and I find each one I learned something new that I maybe necessarily I didn't even know I liked doing. I maybe thought I didn't even like doing. So every time I've learned something different that I go, oh, I want to focus a little bit more on that, or this is something I'm good at and I enjoy. So they are completely different, I find, industry and public accounting, but they both offer lots of great benefits.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Mia Smith. I'm a third-year accounting major here. I guess my question is, for someone or like a student that has done an internship at a firm, and I've done it for 2 years in a row, but I didn't really, it was at Pricewaterhouse. I honestly didn't love it. I worked in audit. And I'm just wondering now, like, what advice would you give for someone that didn't really love the audit side of it? I know people usually say it's best to start in audit and then just work your way, or just spend a few years there, and then you can just branch into whatever you really want to do. but it's usually harder when you start from nothing, like just fresh out of university, and then you want to go into industry. I don't know. So what advice would you have for someone like me? Because I didn't really like it. So.
Personally, I would say it's going to be such a short period of your life. I would personally think just go for it. And once you have the experience and you do learn a lot and you see so much, and if you're able to get your designation while working with the firm, it just opens up so many doors. Then you can kind of start exploring other paths. Whereas trying to go directly into industry, I think would pigeonhole you more. Not that it's a bad thing, I just think you are opening yourself to so many doors by starting off at that level that, and again, it seems like forever when you're in it, but it's a really short period of time to go through it.
I agree, because your designation opens so many doors, and I find with Grant Thornton, you're going to be exposed to audit IBG. IBG, that's short form for Internal Business Unit, and basically it's more about accounting than auditing, and plus you're going to be learning about taxes and but again, if you completely don't like it, then I don't know. But I feel like you always maybe try different firm. You didn't like accounting, or you didn't like people you're working with? Yeah, yeah. No, I find like I always enjoy it, so it's kind of hard to say. But I would definitely give it another try.
Yeah, I would suggest maybe, trying another firm, maybe trying another area, where your accounting is used. Like, I'm just trying to think, like, in our organization, we have the audit side, which is even a little bit different than the audit that's done in firms. And then we also have, say appeals, which, you would still need an accounting or like a commerce degree, and it's using your skills in different ways. So I would say, stick through it and stick with it, and maybe it's just the place that you were at, it wasn't quite the best fit for you, but just explore, some other options, give it a little time.
Can I just jump in? And I'm assuming as a co-ops, you probably were vouching some invoices, so it's more to it, so don't get discouraged. Mm-hmm.
The work was, I was able to apply my mental college, so I liked that. But it was just, it seemed like no one really loved it, but everyone just got it.
Oh, really? Okay. I can't relate, so.
I was going to add one more thing. Maybe also think about, like, what areas that you really did enjoy while you were in university. Like, maybe audit wasn't, what you really did enjoy, but like if there was other areas that you, that you liked better, maybe try to seek opportunities that specialize more there.
Hi, my name is Akia and I'm an accounting major. I just have one question for you guys. Have you encountered any difficulty being women in the workplace?
In my organization, no. However, you do, when I was an auditor, you do go out to, many different types of different businesses, different locations, you meet different people. So while within the office, no, that was never an issue. On occasion, I would find, sometimes people did talk to you a little differently because you were a woman or because you were young, especially if they were older than you, and you were kind of in a position where you had, like the authority to make the decision. But that would be the only thing, and nothing was really, it was just like little things. It wasn't Yeah, anything major.
I find Grant Thornton is very diverse. We have several women partners and many senior managers and women in leadership positions. I find I personally never experienced that. I saw some younger women. I think that was the only time when I had age advantage, and I think it had nothing to do with me being a woman. It's when you are young, straight from university, sometimes client might not take you seriously, and then my age gave me actually advantage because we can have like a group of 7 people asking questions, and my questions would always be answered first because they kind of prioritize based on age, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
I agree with both. I haven't had any bad experiences. I found throughout my career I've had women mentors who I look up to and think the world of, and who work hard and are very well respected in the industry. Like both of you both mentioned, I found it was more so, again, being like a young graduate on a university and working at a firm and having to go ask a client an important question and them not necessarily taking you serious. But I find after a couple times and just having the confidence, and it's just building relationships, right? Once they know that, okay, you're not just some new face on the block asking a question, they take you seriously, and it just builds confidence. So as much as it is being a woman or being young and just getting the experience, I think it's all about building those relationships and building confidence in yourself, and knowing you're doing a good job, that you can go into any client's office and ask a question. And I guess just one more thing is sometimes going into those client offices can be scary if you are working at a firm or CRA as an auditor, but I find as long as you 100% understand what you're asking, then you'll be fine. If you don't 100% know what someone's asking you to ask and then you go in, that's when you can embarrass yourself. And I've done it before, so that's just one piece of advice, just making sure, do I 100% understand the question that I need to find out, or anything that you're going to talk to someone about. So that would be my piece of advice.
Alrighty then, so if there's no more student questions, that will conclude the accounting panel for Career Week. Please give our panelists a big round of applause for being here today. Just a reminder to students that you do need to fill out your Learning Passport activity survey in order to get your Learning Passport stamp, as well as your activity page. The activity page requires the name of the event, the date, and your signature. Miriam will be in the back of the room to stamp your passports. If you'd like to speak to any of the panelists, you can come up and do so. Thank you.